A shimmering expanse of blue glistens under the bright yellow sun. The great blue sea, known for its endless beauty and unique aquatic life, oftentimes revered for being its own beautiful underwater world, filled with fantastical sea creatures. However, for some, the sea is a world full of mysteries and danger. Myths of sea monsters are whispered through the salty breeze. Mermaids oftentimes luring unsuspecting sailors to their demise with enchanting songs. Sea serpents, eyes and mouths trained on any creature that moves within its wake, likely to be its next meal. Creatures from the deep, dark depths of the water. Don't let their dazzling lights fool you, for they will most certainly lead you to a grueling death. Yet, it is not just the sea monsters that the people fear. No. The true dangers of the ocean are the pirates, fierce and unyielding, their hearts as wild and untamed as the storms they sail through. But there are supernatural forces among the dangerous waters that even the greediest, nastiest of pirates refuse to interfere with. But that's where I come in. I am going to be the best pirate that has ever sailed the 7 seas. So sit back, relax, and join me on my pirate adventure. Oh, hey again! This time, welcome to my pirate adventure. Of course, we always open up with the origin screen, but this time there was only one right answer. Diving into my origin, the pirate, I realized a couple of things. First, I would start off with your usual pirate tools, compass, bow, all that fun stuff. Because I am a dastardly little pirate, a lot of villagers don't like me. Pillagers like me, but with iron golems, it's on sight for them. However, I am a lot more resilient and have a lot more health, but I also need a lot more food. With this information set, I was ready to start my pirate journey. When I spawned in, I realized I had the most piratey start ever in the history of pirate adventures. Hey, well, what a start. Am I right or am I right? This is the most inconvenient... Sorry, this is the most inconvenient start I have ever encountered in my entire life. As most people do, I started off by trying to mine this palmwood tree. Turns out, wasn't actually breakable with my fists, so once again, inconvenience at its finest. Forgetting I quite literally spawned in with a boat as a pirate. Things were already going a little rough, but nothing to fear. This was just the beginning. I swam out to the very first little boat I saw and took the chest. There was a lot of wood, some food, and a couple tools to start with. Not too far away, I noticed there was a nice looking boat, and I figured I'd just stop by and loot, because that's what I do. I'm a pirate. And boy oh boy, loot I did. I ended up boarding a few little villagers' ships and stealing their items, which were very helpful. Towards the end of the day, I had finally found a mass of land to get started with. I just needed some wood, some coal, and a couple ores. My goal was to get as strong as I could, as fast as I could. And since I was a hungry pirate, it was important that I collected as much food as I could as well. As I trekked further onto the land, I discovered a pumpkin patch area, where I decided I would just camp in a pumpkin for the night. I realized a pirate is simply not a pirate without a ship, and I would need to build my very own ship, at least to start. I decided I needed to stick along the shore when I came across a spider cave, which is exactly what I needed. Well, not the spiders themselves, but their webs. I needed string to create floaters so that my boat wouldn't immediately sink. I also found a few more pieces of iron which would be helpful in my armor and weapon situation. And soon enough, we were making floaters. It was just about time we start building our very first pirate ship. And finally, I was done. I had created the best pirate starter ship anyone has ever seen in their entire lives. Okay, so it was probably the worst ship anyone has ever made in Minecraft. But listen, it did the job. Honestly, I think I had a better vision in my head of what this would look like, but it's okay. Doesn't matter anyways, because we're on our way to find another ship, a bigger ship to commandeer. Because I didn't have the best armor, I wanted to find a ship that I could take a little easier, something with less of a fight. I noticed that this ship in particular in the distance had pillagers on it, and according to my origin, pillagers liked me, so I was really hoping that was true. Quietly, I snuck onto their ship, deciding to test the waters to see if this was true. And turns out, they were totally cool with me. Ladies and gentlemen, this is now my ship, and you are my crew. So don't mind me stealing things from the chest. They're mine anyways. Turns out, stealing a ship is a lot easier than I thought it would be. No longer was I Spiceyy. I was Captain Spiceyy. I added floaters to the bottom of my ship and I was ready to sail. My very first mission, well, sort of a boring one, was to head back to shore and find a cave where I could finish off my armor, or my captain's gear. And to shore I went. But as I was walking, I came across this random treasure chest just seemingly suspiciously sitting here. Turns out, it was just free loot. Soon I found a cave with a lot of iron and decided I'd finish off my set with this. I even found a little extra iron, which was great because there was one other thing I needed to complete my ship. I was going to need an engine because, quite frankly, my ship was way too slow. I could not be a pirate with a slow ship. First I finished making my armor and then I went to building the engine itself. Already, my ship was so much faster. Instantly, I pulled up to a pirate ship, drawing my pistol to prepare for my very first fight. I was feeling powerful. Nothing was gonna stop me or get in my way. I soon found my very first treasure, guarded by a skeleton captain. I earned a key from killing him, and I decided to see what this loot was all about. It was literally just a crab with a treasure chest on its back. But I will not be deterred. I knew there was more chests out there with more valuable loot than this crab. I had slain yet another skeleton guarding a treasure chest, and hopefully this time it'd be of more value. I ended up getting this very rare sword called a double-edged sword, which did a lot of damage and looked super cool in the process. I raided a couple more ships, grabbed a couple more chests, then decided to set sail for something bigger, something better than these scallywags. And set sail I did, but I couldn't help but feel like something or someone was pulling me, pushing me, urging me to go east. And so, we had our heading. East we went, until I noticed something in the distance. There was a lonesome ship by itself, and I figured I might as well stop by, see if there's anything to loot. I pulled up to the ship and noticed it was suspiciously empty looking. Cautiously, I boarded the ship and had my flintlock pistol out just in case I had to fight something or someone. But as far as I could see, all of the sailors, whoever they were, seemed to be dead. I made my way into the captain's quarters, hoping to find some evidence of what may have happened here. Upon closer inspection, I discovered a captain's log.
We've been sailing for a few days now. Our destination, a town called Intonation, where we are to drop off our cargo, hoping the waters continue to give us safe passage. It has been a week and a half now since we left port. The crew is beginning to get a little squirmish, for there have been reports by the crew of hearing what sounds like a beautiful song. Sirens do not exist, I told them, but even I have my doubts. 2 weeks on the sea. I lost 2 men last night. The other crew members say they were there looking over the edge of the deck of the ship, and then they simply vanished. We searched for any sign of them in the waters, but found nothing. A huge storm has blasted us off track. We thought we were sailing northeast, but I fear our calculations were a bit off. We continued our heading, but came into contact with what appears to be a pirate's cove. We escaped narrowly with our lives, but I have now lost 2 more men.
Our captain has been killed. We were sailing away from the pirates, who turned out to be straight east from here, when all of a sudden a massive sea serpent leapt from the water, snatching our captain and dragging him to the depths. I fear without him, we may not last longer. My name is Taryn. This is to be my last log, for we are being attacked by a massive, unknown creature who has taken away everyone but myself. If you find this log, I wish you the best, sailor. Thus, starting a brand new pirate journey. For according to the captain, there had been a mysterious pirate cove to the east. I sailed closer and closer until I finally came across a massive landmass. Perhaps this was the place our mysterious captain had been talking about. Immediately, I was attacked by some giant insect. It must be guarding something. Seems like we did find the right place. I rounded the corner of the bay, and long behold, a small little pirate town. However, by the time I had arrived, it was getting dark, and there were a lot of phantoms after me. So I decided to stop by one of the inns and get a room for the night. She sent me up some stairs, where I decided to check out my room a little longer before calling it a night. At daybreak, I woke up and decided it was time to explore this newfound pirate cove. And of course, the first place I decided to quote-unquote explore was the tavern. I realized, you know what, it has been a while since I've had some rum. It was time to drink, ladies and gentlemen. I was disappointed to know that I didn't have the gold on me right now, so I'd have to head back to my ship and grab some in order to drink. As I collected my gold, I suddenly had a thought. These pillagers, they were practically useless, and I needed to make an example of them. Finally, I was free of their annoying little voices. And the best part was, I was at a pirate cove. I'm sure there's some people, mercenaries of sorts, perhaps looking for a potential ship. And pirates are a lot cooler than having pillagers as crew members. Because I was already such a successful pirate, and I was wealthy, I decided I had some gold and iron to spend on some of the goods this place had to offer. So I ended up buying a couple cabbage rolls and continuing my exploration. I came upon a man named Germa Light, who apparently had lost one of his crew members in one of the up ahead caves. He gave me a reward ahead of time, and I thought about just leaving. But just because I'm a pirate doesn't mean I have to be a jerk all the time. So I figured maybe I'll help this guy. Why not? Germa had given me a Naga Fang dagger, which, while it didn't really have too much of a hard-hitting effect, it did poison targets and could double the damage from behind. And then as I was talking to this wonderful little red-headed lady named Millie, I noticed someone in the pig pen and decided to go check it out. It was Mr. Gibbs. Mr. Gibbs, what are you doing in the pig pen? Oh, my apologies, Mr. Gibbs. We shall continue on. Enjoy your mud bath. Before I headed up to the cave, I continued to look around to see what all this pirate cove had to offer for me. My first stop was the weaponsmith, where I saw that I could get all kinds of different weapons and accessories. Swords, hooks, axes, cannons, bombs, you name it, they've got it. While I was not currently in need of any weapons, I decided I'd just continue on and remember that shop for later. Upon leaving the voodoo master's house, I was suddenly attacked by a giant man-eating plant called a Pholiath. Once I had killed the Pholiath, I remembered Rufus, who had been outside the inn the night before, and saw he was actually looking to be hired. I'd keep that in mind for later. But for now, it was 5 o'clock somewhere, and you know what that means.
Hey, and up she rises way, hey, and up she rises way, hey, and up she rises early in the morning. Shave his belly with a rusty razor, shave his belly with a rusty razor, shave his belly
With so many choices, I couldn't decide. So I ended up just getting Har's Icy Pale Lager, and decided to just enjoy the night. Turns out, I'm a lot more of a lightweight than one would expect. So I decided to sit at the tavern for a few hours and enjoy the pirate shanties. Still a little tipsy from the previous couple hours of drinking, for some reason I decided now was a perfect time to climb that mountain. After a few minutes, or maybe even a few hours, I finally reached the mouth of the cave. Okay, so far we weren't in any imminent danger besides the skeletons lined up against the walls, but nothing to worry about, right? Ah! Okay, nice little plant, Son of a barnacle, you scared the shipwreck out of me. I continued my way deeper into the cave to hopefully not come across any more Pholiaths, but to find Germa's crew member. But wherever I go, trouble tends to follow. After fighting my way through some skeletons, I noticed a name in the distance. I could only assume that Kita here was the missing member of Germa's crew, so I convinced him to follow me down the mountain so I could return him to his captain. Now that I had done my one good deed of the day, it was time to focus on finding mercenaries that would be my new crew. I first started by raiding some barrels that just happened to be sitting around and collected a bit more food for my journey. But as I kept searching the barrels, I came across a barrel full of bananas. And you know what was literally everywhere? Monkeys! I think it's time we get a new companion. Hello, my furry friend. Could I interest you in a banana, or 2, or 3? And just like that, I had my very first pet, a monkey! All I needed was a name tag, and I knew exactly what I was gonna name my new friend. A certain Pirates movie has been my favorite movie series of all time since I was a child, so you know exactly what I had to do. Thank you, Jack. You're welcome. Not you, we named the Monkey Jack. By nightfall, I had found myself curious about whatever it was that I had seen on top of the mountain when I had originally sailed in. As I climbed, I noticed another one of those very large insect-like creatures following me. But I thought nothing of it. However, as I was mining some iron and coal, I kept hearing these really weird noises from right above me. And obviously, I would have to investigate. What is this thing? Oh, they're coming! They're coming! As I ran from the swarm, I realized two things. One, I was on top of a very, very tall mountain and I could not really see if there was water below me. The second thing I realized is I didn't have a water bucket in case there wasn't water under me. So, all I could do was hope I didn't meet Davy Jones's locker today. I had survived my leap of faith. Not today, Davy Jones, not today. When daybreak came, it was finally time to get my crew together. Our first stop would be Rufus, the man who had been standing outside the inn for a few days now. You be having yourself a deal, Rufus. My next stop would be to the tavern, which, unfortunately, not for Rom this time, but for a mercenary I had spotted the couple times I'd been in. Welcome to me crew, Mina. And finally, I had one last stop. A dagger woman known as a Moxie that I had seen when I had first sailed into the port. Finally, I had collected my own crew. But before I left, I had noticed a woman in this hut that I had not noticed before. Turns out, Zinfandel was a witch who gave me some vital information on how I could officially become the best pirate. According to the witch, there had been 5 pirate lords that had ruled the seas for the longest of time. These pirates were Captain Agmair, Captain Albrecht, Captain Roger, and Captain Stachu. And the most powerful captain of them all, Captain Cornelia, who was rumored to no longer even be human. If I defeated these 5 powerful captain lords, I would become the most powerful and notorious pirate in all of the 7 seas. The ultimate pirate quest had been placed upon me, and nothing, absolutely nothing, would stop me. As soon as I reached the next island over, I was already getting attacked by sirens. Once I had scared them off, I decided to start checking out a buried treasure map that I had found while looting another ship. Soon I arrived in No Man's Land, an island full of corpses where this treasure had been buried. This particular treasure was in very shallow ground, so it was quite easy to find. I opened the chest to find a skull helmet, a couple gold ingots, some iron ingots, TNT, and some cooked fish. The skull helmet was incredibly cool, so of course I had to try it on. Overall, it was a super cool helmet, but my other helmet happened to be stronger. Along the way, I also managed to kidnap a few sailor villagers. But Captain Spiceyy, how did you manage to get them to trade with you? Well, I threatened their lives. Just kidding, guys. They're merchant villagers, which is different than a regular villager. But let's stick with them being completely and terribly scared of me, because I'm a big, bad, scary pirate. I raided a couple more ships, grabbed a little bit more loot, and continued my search for the pirate lords. It didn't take long for me to come across one of the biggest ships I'd seen yet. And it took even less time for the fighting to officially begin. Right about here is when I realized a couple of things. Number one, I had not accounted for the other pirates having pistols, especially way quicker ones than I had. The second thing, well, I had just used all of my ammo on other ships I had looted before I found this one. This meant I would have to get up close and personal for this fight. But being a responsible pet owner, I had to get my monkeys Jack and Barbossa to safety first. And now, it was time to bring it on. At first, I thought I would attack from the stern, sneak up behind. but the pirates were ready, and they shot me back into the water, where I was immediately attacked by all sorts of drown. After fighting for my life in the water, I finally made it back to the ship. When I moved my boat, I encountered another pirate lord ship just a few feet ahead. This particular ship had seen much better days, and so I figured I'd use that to my advantage. But right before I jumped in, I spotted something lurking in the waters. This sea serpent seemed particularly interested in me and my ship. The battle lasted until the next morning, and I decided it was time to try and board their ship again. I managed to get into the captain's quarters, where I grabbed all of the cooked fish and the golden apples I could grab. It wasn't long before someone noticed, though, and I began to get attacked. And just like that, Captain Albrecht has appeared. I made my way down to the bottom of the ship, where I knew for a fact the captain was hiding. What a coward. But these pirate pillagers were not easy to kill. And because they had spawners right below me, it was impossible. They seemed endless. And then I saw it, the sea serpent leaping out of the water. Things were not looking good for me. I had to retreat. I needed to regain my health and rethink my strategy. I decided the best thing for me at this point was to just pull away, if only for a moment. Then, for some reason, to make matters even worse, I began to try and fight the other ship I had seen very close by, and sorta kinda summoned a second Captain Albrecht. But that didn't matter, because we just needed to focus on at least one of these captains. After contemplating, I realized my best bet was probably to try and destroy the spawners as quickly and easily as I could. Great, that was one down and two more to go. When I opened the chest, I found a pirate pistol as well as some ammo. This would be perfect to help me clean up the mess. The first spawner had been so easy to break, so I thought the second one would be too. But I was very, very wrong. Oh good lord, oh good lord. Okay, so that did not go too well, but that's when I remembered. I literally have TNT in my inventory. Bon voyage, suckers. When I finally destroyed the second spawner, I made a little path down to the hull of the ship, planning on hitting some cheap shots with these pirates. And it worked, except getting caught on fire and shot at a few times. And for the last of the pirates, I decided to take a different approach. Apparently, the siren approach. Luring them in with my magical singing voice. That was quite enough. I realized I should stop listening to music when playing Minecraft. Anyways, I was finally down to one last pirate. Captain Albrecht himself. This was it. The battle would end here today. With one last swing of my sword, Captain Albrecht was done for. I collected a fair amount of loot from Captain Albrecht's ship and decided it was time to upgrade some of my gear. I felt powerful in my upgraded gear and successful assassination attempt on the first pirate lord. One captain down, 4 more to go. This called for celebration. I was one step closer to becoming the best and most powerful pirate of the seas. But we still had a lot of work to do. I sailed for quite a while before I decided it was time to stop and look for some more food and coal. As I looked around this new landmass, I noticed a weird shaped hollow little dirt pile with something inside. Well, she don't look too friendly, that I will admit that. I decided my best bet for now was to just focus on getting some coal since there was so much around. Then when I had gathered enough, I decided I might as well just go check it out, get a little closer. Okay, so close range didn't seem like an option at this point. Apparently, they could hit me with their poison from blocks and blocks away. I also barely noticed, but when I fought them up close and decapitated one of them, it would grow another head. That was all the information I needed to know that I was dealing with a Hydra. And in that case, with my knowledge about the creatures of this mod, knew exactly how to defeat this thing. I ran to the Hydra's lair and immediately lit it on fire. I continued lighting them on fire over and over again in hopes of weakening them, until I came back into its lair to search for it and realized I had killed the Hydra. Now with coal, more food, and a newly acquired victory against a Hydra, I continued on my way. Fortunately, it did not take me long before I had finally come across the ship of Captain Roger. However, when I was changing the position of my ship, I noticed something in the water. But I didn't think much of it at the time. So you can imagine the surprise at this unexpected visitor. What in the... How did he get on my ship? Well, that's just not great, I'm gonna be honest with you. Now my biggest concern was how to get out of my cabin without having Jack and Barbossa get harmed in the process. I decided my best bet was to make a break for it. Well, at least I had got him off my ship. But because his weapon did so much knockback damage, it was almost impossible to get close to him. And my lack of ammo was still an issue. As per usual, nothing is ever simple when it comes to fighting for me. Because what was a fight without a freaking sea serpent? Okay, so I was having difficulties with Captain Roger here. It was obvious what I really needed was some kind of ammo. So when I had spotted a peculiar ship in the distance embedded in the ice, I decided it wouldn't hurt to go ahead and check it out. Situations like this, such as finding a giant ship full of loot and pillagers, was exactly why I was glad I was a pirate. I simply strutted onto the ship like I owned it and just took whatever loot I pleased. However, while exploring the cabin, I actually noticed the pillager who seemed to be standing over a lectern. I raided the rest of the barrels, then decided to check this book out, making a grim discovery. Captain Cornelia? This was in fact the ship of the Captain Cornelia. The entry written by a fellow crew member explains that the crew was growing suspicious of Captain Cornelia and her quest to find a specific resource. It seemed these suspicions had been confirmed when she had took the only diving suit off the ship, as well as the master key, and had left her crew for good, never to be seen again. When I returned to my ship, I found Captain Roger in the same spot, as well as a couple sea monsters who seemed to be guarding my ship. Unfortunately, I did not find any ammo in Captain Cornelia's ship. So now I had to think of a more creative way to kill Captain Roger. But when I got into my office, I noticed there was only one monkey. Where was Barbossa? Barbossa? Oh my god, you better not be dead. Oh, Barbossa, what are you doing down there? This is when I noticed that Captain Roger was firing at my boy Rufus. But Rufus was fighting back and actually doing an okay amount of damage to Captain Roger. Maybe this would be a lot easier than I thought. But the gunfire seemed to be attracting unwanted attention from other creatures. I allowed Rufus to do a little bit more damage before deciding to take matters into my own hands. Captain Roger was one hit away. I just needed to get to him. So, in a swift Assassin's Creed style takedown, I landed the final blow. Following the defeat of Captain Roger, this meant I had now killed 2 of the 5 pirate lords. I could already hear the whispers on the salty breeze, rumoring of me, the new pirate queen. Just 3 more lords to go, and I would become the most powerful pirate. But finding the next pirate lord was no easy task. I traveled for hours, days, hundreds of blocks, but still no sign of any of the other pirate lords. After traveling for so long, I decided it was time to take a break. I found a really cool looking jungle biome with mountains not too far away and decided to go check it out. Oh, that's a cool looking bird. Not a cool bird, not a cool bird! Suddenly I was being attacked by a bird with a frickin' machine gun? What was that? What was that? What the f was that? I believe I have heard about these birds throwing feathers at me. This is a Stymphalian bird, I believe, something like that. I have not encountered these before, but I have heard of bow birds, bow terrors. When I came back up to my deck to go find the birds, it looked like it had died. It had dropped a lot of feathers, and I could only assume that the sea serpent and the Stymphalian bird had gotten into a bit of a tussle. But the sea serpent was not getting off that easy. Someone once told me, you'll be the queen of the ocean when sea serpents fly. Bet they feel pretty stupid now. The Davy Jones locker you go, you scallywag. Oh my gosh, a turtle! Hi! Finally, peace at last. Can things stop trying to bite me for 1 second? Yeah, once again I spoke too soon. But this time, I would be the one to defeat the Stymphalian bird. Come here, you little rascal. Unfortunately, in trying to fight the bird, I actually broke my weapon. My double-edged sword was now gone. Even though I had defeated the bird, I couldn't help but mourn my nice, rare weapon just a little bit. I was a bit annoyed with myself, considering I have a whole chest load of enchanted books I could have used on it to prevent it from breaking. But that would be okay, because we would look for an even more powerful weapon. I kept exploring the island and almost got eaten by a crocodile. I fought a couple more skeleton captains, opened a couple more chests, but still no luck with any cool new weapons. I had caught a nice break on the island and decided it was time to keep sailing. I came across this TNT explosive ship thingy and it was really cool, but Lord Almighty, did I just want to blow this thing to shreds. I decided to take a rowboat over and just grab as much TNT as I could, knowing it could be very helpful in my next battle with the next captain. And when I was satisfied with the amount of loot I had grabbed, you know what time it was. Not as big of an explosion as I had anticipated, but that was okay. I was still satisfied. Finally, after so many more days of sailing, I finally found Captain Stachu's ship. Because I had broke my other weapon, a diamond cutlass would do, and I was gonna make sure I used my enchantment books this time. As soon as I boarded the ship, I began to try and mine the spawner, when I noticed a mysterious peg leg and boot in front of me. Well, maybe this would be easier than I expected, but unfortunately, he ran away. So now I had to think of another plan. I went back to my ship and spotted the little feather on his head and decided to start shooting at him. But also kind of forgot he had a bazooka. Well, actually, there was a couple guys with bazookas, which of course made this extremely hard. In the distance, I spotted Captain Stachu trying to make a break for it. Not on my watch, buddy. But it didn't take me long to realize, similarly to the Captain Roger battle, me getting close to a person with a knockback weapon was not gonna work out for me. And so, my next tactic was born. Camping the shore. But this tactic ended up being a little more hectic than I had anticipated. Until Captain Stachu finally decided to join us for the party. The third captain had now been defeated. leaving 2 more, Captain Agmair and Captain Cornelia. As I was sailing off to my next destination, I noticed a peculiar looking skeleton on an island. But before I could get a close look, I had to beat up some sirens. Turns out it was a level 4 skeleton of a dragon, but that's not my business. It took me a few more days of sailing until I finally came across another captain's ship. I quickly gathered up all the supplies I needed to defeat this new captain, but I was feeling a little extra destructive this time around, so we immediately went in with the TNT. I was in the process of blocking off any other ways they could come from when I got smacked by a bazooka. After about 20 minutes, I had finally defeated all the spawners. They were all gone. So now I just had to drop a bunch of TNT. This was by far my favorite part of any pirate captain fight. One thing I knew for sure I did not want to do this time around that I did the other times was let the captains out of the ship. So sadly, I couldn't put too much TNT down. After quite a bit, I finally managed to clear most of the ship out, leaving just Captain Agmair and a couple little goons. But come on, you know I cannot resist some good explosions. So I had to just do a couple more. And then all of a sudden, Captain Agmair just sank down and disappeared. And I noticed he started taking damage. Is this guy drowning? For a moment, I thought I should just let the sea take him out of respect. But then I was like, wait, I'm a pirate. I'm not respectful. Give me that ladyship title. All this treasure was now mine. And this now meant I had defeated 4 of the 5 of the pirate lords. I had gained a ton of levels and a ton of enchanted books. If there was a time to use these resources, it would be now, in preparing for my hardest and final fight. But there was one thing I knew I needed to do in order to even find Captain Cornelia. The only thing we knew about her is that she had vanished into the depths of the ocean, never to be seen again. But legend says that if you kill the new captain of her ship, they will drop a horn that could summon her back to the surface. So I searched around, looking for any pillager that could hold the name of the captain. But alas, after going throughout the whole ship, I could not find a single captain. And so I resorted to just killing every pillager I could find with a weapon.
Did I get it?
Oh, I had finally found the horn. This was the last piece of the puzzle we needed to get Captain Cornelia. But before I could fight her, I would need to enchant all of my armor and all of my weapons. So I sailed off to a nearby jungle island where I knew I could probably find the obsidian I needed in order to craft an enchantment table. But before I could even get to a cave, I got distracted by this bird, and it loved me immediately. So now I had a pet bird to take back to my ship. I made some obsidian, mined it, and then decided to go caving. I grabbed plenty of coal to fuel my engine, as well as some lapis so that I could actually enchant my stuff. This is about when I realized I have one bookshelf. What am I doing? How am I gonna enchant my stuff if I don't have bookshelves? So after searching all of my chests and going on a run for some pages, I had finally made it a big enough enchantment room. I sailed back to the ice maze biome and prepared my final inventory. This would be a tough battle, and I didn't know if I would make it back alive. I gave Jack and Barbosa one final talk, but if I didn't come back, they would at least know I loved them. I gave them both a little kiss, then made my way out to my new parrot friend. Our time together has been short, my friend, but I love you just the same, Mr. No-Name Bird. And if I don't come back, don't wait for me. This could very well be my last moments roaming the seas as a pirate. If Davy Jones takes me now, I will gladly join him with open arms, for I had died trying to be the best pirate to ever roam the seas. The sun floated up from the waters, and I set off to find the perfect spot to summon Captain Cornelia. Finally, I came to a large open area and decided this would be the place.
Okay, let's see if this works. We've got this, we're all set. Hopefully. Oh my god.
I fought to the best of my ability, but she kept pulling me and pushing me and stabbing at me. It was extremely hard to get away from her for even a moment.
What in the I'm flying!
I learned the hard way that even when I got her low, when I hit her so many times, she would simply heal back up as if nothing had happened. I earned but barely a moment of peace and decided it was time to start throwing some of my potions at her. I hit Captain Cornelia with a weakness 3 potion. Little did I know, this was her weakness. Because I began to get her low, and this time she wasn't regenerating any health. With one final hard blow with my anchor, Captain Cornelia was dead.
Let's go!
I had actually done it. I had killed all 5 pirate lords, which now meant I was the ruler of the 7 seas.
Oh my gosh, I cannot believe we did it! Actually, I can, because I am the Lord of the Pirates now. I am the Queen of the Pirates, and I can defeat anything that gets in my way! Whoa!
But while I was celebrating my victory, I realized Captain Cornelia had dropped a map, as well as a key. What could this possibly lead to? The possibilities were endless. A legendary weapon, treasures beyond my wildest dreams, the most powerful artifact in this world. I kept following the map, eager to see what it would take me to. I noticed a strange structure on top of the ice, and I had to check it out. I jumped onto the platform and looked down. But the sounds I heard from the cavern below did not belong to any creature I had ever encountered.
I just wanted to come on here and say thank you so much for watching my video. I really appreciate it. I really hope you enjoyed. I spent a lot of time on it trying to make it a little bit cinematic and also just trying to tell a good story. I also wanted to say thank you guys so much for all the support on my last video. I'm I'm so glad so many people seem to enjoy it. I got so many nice comments and I just was so blown away by just everything. As per usual, we've got way more videos to come, so if you enjoyed this video, go check out my other video if you've not seen it yet, and make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. So thank you guys so much again. I hope you guys have an amazing day, and I'll see you guys around. As per usual, all mods will be in the description. Thank you guys. Goodbye.